The moment I saw her tweet, I realized I wasn't the only person in her story anymore. It wasn't the anniversary that hurt. It was how casually she erased me in front of everyone. Her name was Sloane Harrington. We live in a quiet, polished neighborhood in Greenwich, Connecticut, where everything looked perfect from the outside. The kind of place where people smiled at you while quietly measuring your worth. I had spent the entire morning planning something simple but meaningful. Dinner at the same waterfront restaurant where we had our first date. A handwritten note I'd rewritten 3 times because nothing felt honest enough. And a watch I knew she'd once paused over in a store window but never asked for. I thought I understood her, or at least I thought I understood us. At 6:12 p.m., I checked my phone again. No message, no call, no explanation, just silence. At 6:37 p.m., my friend Reed Calloway sent me a screenshot. He didn't even add a caption. He didn't need to. It was Sloane's Twitter. A photo of her sitting across from Nolan Prescott. Her ex. The man she had described as a closed chapter. The man she had promised me was no longer relevant. They were smiling. Not the polite kind of smile you give for a photo. The kind of smile that comes for shared history. Comfort. Familiarity. The caption read, "I don't owe anyone an explanation." I stared at it longer than I should have. Not because I didn't understand the words, but because I was trying to understand where I fit into them. Was I the anyone? Or was I just not important enough to even be considered? I called her. Once. Twice. 5 times. Each call rang until it didn't. Each unanswered tone made something inside me settle into a colder, quieter place. At 7:03 p.m., I canceled the reservation. The hostess sounded apologetic. I almost laughed. She was apologizing for something that wasn't even her fault. I drove home slowly, not because of traffic, but because I wasn't ready to sit alone with what this meant. When I walked into the apartment, everything looked exactly as I'd left it. 2 glasses set on the counter. The gift box still unopened. The note folded neatly beside it. It felt like a scene waiting for someone who was never going to arrive. I sat down and opened Twitter again. The post had already gained attention. Likes. Deeply. People agreeing with her. Defending her. Celebrating her independence. No one asking who she might have hurt in the process. No one asking what the full story was. That's the thing about public moments. They never show the private cost. Around 8:15 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was her. One message. I didn't think it would be a big deal. I read it twice. Then a third time. Not because I didn't understand it, but because I was trying to find something in it that wasn't there. There was no apology. No acknowledgement. No awareness. Just a quiet dismissal of everything the day was supposed to mean. I typed a response. Deleted it. Typed another. Deleted that too. Because anything I said in that moment would come from a place I didn't trust. Anger. Hurt. Confusion. And none of those ever lead to clarity. Instead, I asked one question. Where are you right now? She replied almost instantly. Still out. Still out. Like the day hadn't carried any weight at all. Like this wasn't something that required pause or reflection. That was the moment something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but in a way that felt permanent. Before we go further, I want you to think about this. If you were in that position, would you confront her immediately, or would you wait and see what she does next? Because in that moment, both choices felt equally dangerous. I chose to wait, not because I was calm, but because I wanted to understand the pattern, not just the incident. Sloane had always been independent. That's what I admired about her. She made her own decisions. She didn't ask for permission. But somewhere along the way, independence had turned into detachment, and I hadn't noticed when a line was crossed. Around 10:42 p.m., the door finally opened. She walked in like it was any other night. Heels in one hand, phone in the other. No hosetaschen, no visible. She saw me sitting there, and for a brief second, her expression changed. Not into regret, but into calculation, like she was deciding how much this mattered. You're still up, she said. It wasn't a question. It wasn't concern. It was observation. I saw your post, I replied. She nodded slightly. I figured you would. That was it. No explanation. No defense. Just acknowledgement. And somehow, that made it worse. Because it meant she knew exactly what she had done. And you didn't think to tell me? She shrugged. I didn't think it was something I needed to run by you. There was again that word, needed. Like communication was optional. Like respect was negotiable. I'm not asking you to ask for permission, I said. I'm asking why you didn't think it mattered. She paused. Not long, but long enough to choose her words carefully. Because it doesn't change anything. I felt something tighten in my chest. Doesn't change anything for who? For us, she said. But even she didn't sound fully convinced. And that's when I realized the problem wasn't just what she did. It was what she believed. To her, this wasn't betrayal. It was normal. To me, it was a line you don't cross without at least a conversation. We weren't arguing about the same thing. We were living in two completely different versions of the relationship. Before we continue, tell me this. Do you think Sloane genuinely believed she did nothing wrong? Or was she avoiding responsibility because it was easier? I didn't raise my voice. Not because I wasn't angry, but because I knew this wasn't something volume could fix. I need you to be honest with me, I said. Not defensive, not careful, just honest. She looked at me, really looked this time, and for the first time that night, something in her expression softened. I didn't think it would hurt you this much, she admitted. And that was the truth. Not an excuse, not a justification, just a quiet, uncomfortable truth. She hadn't considered my side deeply enough to predict the damage. And maybe that was worse than intentional harm, because it meant I wasn't present in her decisions at all. I'm not asking you to undo it, I said. I'm asking you to understand why it matters. She sat down across from me, the same position as in the photo, but this time there was no smile. No shared history softening the moment. Just two people realizing they might not be as aligned as they thought. I've always been clear about who I am, she said. I don't like feeling controlled. And I've never tried to control you, I replied. But relationships aren't just about what you want. They're about what you consider. That landed differently. I could see it. Not agreement, but recognition. And sometimes that's the first step. The conversation didn't explode. It didn't resolve either. It just settled into something quieter, more honest, more uncertain. By midnight, we were still sitting there. Not fighting, not fixing, just understanding that something fundamental had been exposed. And it wasn't going away. Because some moments don't end relationships immediately. They just show you where the cracks already were. And once you see them, you can't unsee them.